Hey Ratbags, it's Jade. Today we're talking about hotfixes, crashes and leaks. It's all in the grounded news. Let's go. But first, a word from my sponsors. Did you know if you like content on YouTube, you get recommended it more? Not exactly that rocket science, is it? But YouTube have been promoting these clips to me in my studio. I've always mocked people that do things like tell you, oh, only 15% of you are subscribed to my channel, or only 86% of you are liking the video. I find it a bit cringe, but I do understand why people do it because it's important. So if you do want to see guides and tutorials and news from me, the 75 grounded videos I've done in the last 4 weeks and more, make sure you like the video. It really helps the channel out and I really would appreciate it. YouTube is literally telling us creators to try and get you to like the video if you like it, and don't forget. Okay, here's the big one. We're working on a hotfix for the crashing issue regarding the sorting feature. Apparently on Xbox, a lot of players are experiencing crashes when trying to use the brand new feature that I labelled the best update ever. It does look like though, with the hotfix situation at the moment, they can only do it weekly, so it won't be arriving until next week at some point, the fix for that. So if you're crashing on Xbox, don't try and use the auto sort button. Explicitly, it says here, until then, please refrain from using this feature with a chest full of many items with large stack sizes. Thank you for understanding and patience. Now, a lot of people are saying they've got problems with the saves also crashing once this has happened. I've scoured through Discord a little bit and it seems a bit hokey, but try it out. This from Meridian, who's asking someone or helping someone that had the same sort of issue. Try and go into single player, don't open your inventory, make a new save, then move around a bit. Go into your inventory and remove the marble, quartz, etc. and then save again. Pick it up and then save again and then load in multiplayer. So with that, coupled together with obviously what they just said about big stack sizes, it does seem like you've got to try and reduce them sizes maybe to help crashing. So if you were in a single player world, maybe try loading up a multiplayer. If it's a multiplayer world, try loading up a single player. Try doing it offline, try and doing it online. If you really can't load up your save, it just won't work, try setting up different game modes. Can't guarantee that's a fix, but that's what some people were saying in Discord. If you can find a way to unsort your inventory by reducing some of them stacks, it may fix the issue. A lot of you guys are also reporting, especially in the comments of my last video as well, about rotating base building pieces, particularly stairs. This isn't going to be fixed by this weekend, it's going to be part of next week's update maybe, so you're going to have to rotate all your pieces until then. Again, I can only guess or presume it might have something to do with this fix that they implemented yesterday. Non-diagonal buildings can now snap to diagonal rotations at specified angles, so maybe this upsets some of the base pieces that are already in there. It was a great little update yesterday. Yes, there were some nerfs to some ridiculously OP items. That news video got 36k views and hundreds of comments, and a lot of you guys seem to be upset by a few things. So now I've got that out of the way and hopefully helped some people. With just the last more explanation about durability, a lot of you have been commenting the same thing, saying that you've woken up to all your weapons and armor basically needing repairing. It's at like half health or it's reduced. It hasn't. It's still exactly the same level it was, but they've increased the overall amount of durability on every armor piece or weapon piece or whatever it was. So you haven't lost anything. They just didn't give you a free repair for everything. So you will need to spend some of your glue or parts to repair stuff, but it isn't that bad. It just means you've got double the amount of durability. But that's the major issues. Hopefully that fix comes in next week. So yeah, people getting a bit salty about stuff. Look, no one likes nerfs sometimes, especially if you feel like it's been in the game a while, why need to change it. But people crying about changes to mistakes made with weapon, like the pinch whacker not having axe damage on it anymore. I mean, it was obvious that was a mistake. You shouldn't be able to get hold of a tier 3 item maybe on the second day of playing the game. You need to build up to it, you need to go up the runs, get tier 2, then the tier 3 termite one pretty much near the end. And then toxicology badge, which gave you literally immunity against gas as well as dust. Some comments were saying, oh, why have they done that? This is ridiculous. I'm going to go off on a rant, I am. The game has just come out. Every game under the sun has hotfixes if it's a good game led by good devs. They have to respond to feedback and they have to make sure everything's right. When a game leaves early access, yes, you could argue that we shouldn't have these problems. But because they want to make the biggest impact with marketing and make sure that everyone gets a surprise at launch when the game comes out, rather than having a PTB running for weeks spoiling everything, some of these things are going to just slip through the cracks. Grounded is a big complex game, survival games are, much more than any kind of single player experience or others. And it's a team of 20 working on this game now. Yeah, they get a bit of help from porting teams and Xbox doing certain things, but the core components, the people that actually write a lot of the code, it's still very small amount of team. You could argue they could spend more money, but then we wouldn't have the game that we have now. It would be a bloated microtransaction cash cow. If something's needing to be nerfed, I say we should trust in the devs and recognising that. You can't have an item that gives you protection against gas as well as dust guard, rendering another item like the gas mask completely useless. Yeah, people will moan, oh, well, it's still good for multiplayer. But come on now, progression, put your big boy hats on, think about it a bit more deeper. Toxology badge is like in the pond or whatever it is. It's like one of the first badges you might explore after the hedge. It's like one of the first dungeons you might explore, maybe, if you don't go to the hedge. So chances are you shouldn't really have something that gives you OP-ness for the rest of the game. So I don't mind them doing that nerf. It makes the game more balanced, it makes it a use for the gas mask, it's not killing people's fun. What I do agree with, which I will say, is people complaining that the Black Widow blade doesn't do poison damage to other spiders. Now, obviously, the OP poison build has been just stupidly OP. Wearing the new spider armor gear, using the brand new blade, with all the critical hits and stuff like that that you can make, it's just obliterating all creatures, including spiders. Now, apparently in real life, the Black Widow can indeed poison other spiders, and obviously in the game, they've got different types of poison. We've actually got venom for the Black Widows, and it's poison for, obviously, the wolf spiders. So I will agree, you can do it constructively. You can sit there and say, hey, grounded devs, it'd be amazing if you could just change this feature slightly. Or how about giving us a little bit of damage rather than taking it away completely. But yeah, some people I think take things too extreme. Like if something's been in the game for 2 years and then they change it, then I can understand people getting a bit salty. Grounded still needs new players to play the game if we want DLC or updates in the future, so they need as many new players picking it up. If the game's a bit unbalanced and it's still a little bit too hard, although that might sound a bit stupid to old school players, you've had lots of time with the game. Remember your first days getting eaten by every creature in the yard? Well, that's how a huge amount of people are experiencing Grounded right now. And likewise, all the stuff with the prod smacker and the pinch whacker, of course they had to change them. It was ridiculous getting a tier 3 axe maybe on day 2, as soon as you managed to grab together some of the fungal growth, get an ant egg and then blow up a door and get yourself one of the best weapons in the game. Grounded is incredibly complex. The devs have only had 2 weeks since the game's launch to make sure everything's right. There is going to be issues that they missed. It's not cool that the game is crashing substantially, and I do see some more reports from multiplayer particularly. That you've got every right to moan or complain about. But nerfs and buffs, it's not like it's a major key part of the game. But when features are clearly a mistake and they allow OP-ness or allowing you to jump miles ahead of the game than you should be, then of course it's got to be nerfed. On the plus side, once all inventory sorting is working, it's going to be fantastic. Let's hope they iterate on it a little bit so we might be able to decide how things get auto sorted. Whether it's in tier, whether it's in weapon or style. That would be really good for the future. But it's a start. So hold on to your butts, Grounded people. If you're having some of these problems, yes, it does suck, but hopefully that fix will come through early next week. Now, onto some juicy leaks. Something I said I wouldn't do. But you guys have made me. You made me do it. Apex Predator showed this off in Discord yesterday. Like, literally go off the video now if you don't want to hear spoilers about potentially endgame and creatures that may or may never come to Grounded in future. It's a secret note. But yes, apparently, according to this note that was left in the game files, there was a lizard added to Grounded at one point in the development world. It wasn't something guaranteed to come out, it wasn't something maybe the devs thought was serious, and I will be making a video talking about it in a bit more in depth. But effectively, it's cut content or content that just wasn't working for the backyard right now. It might come in the future, it might not. Oh Lord, I've done it now, I've done it now. I plan to use Thor's new pet lizard as a candidate for shrinking and expansion, but things took a bad turn. I was making sure she had a good filled stomach for her micro journey, shall we say. I fed Lizzie her favourite, Armadillidae and Silopsis, all topped with some delicious saline or salted roly-polies, and an ant queen I fished out of an anthill near the tree. Now the poor girl isn't getting up, belly up like a fish in a lake. Surely she must have contracted a parasite. These pillbugs did look a little bit more sickly than usual. I knew throwing away that leftover casserole was a bad idea. For now, I'll just hide her in the sandbox like nothing's ever happened. I'll tell Thor she went off to see her lizard family. Let's hope Thor doesn't want to reenact the final of Yoke Girth and destroy the castle again. Now, I've been resistant about talking about some of this. I have got told every leak under the sun. I know about all the other secret creatures in the game. I know about all the different new armor sets. Most of it came from the leaked development build that happened about a month before full release. I told the devs I wouldn't really talk about this, obviously until after launch. And then I was going to see how it goes. I don't really want to hype stuff up just in case it doesn't come, because I've got it wrong loads of times. When we thought there might be a Dragonfly Slayer sword coming to the game, and that in turn meant that maybe a Dragonfly boss. When I was convinced that we would get traps like honey traps and ice traps come to the game, and in the end we didn't. We got something completely different. Or when I assumed we would get leeches and warp striders eventually, and that was cut absolutely ages ago. Although Adam has said that cut content is never 100% cut, it's just got to have a good reason to come back. Anywho, I'm putting it out there just to say. Couple of reasons I've not done the video yet, even though I've been sitting on this information for over a month. One, I don't want people to go, oh, it should have been 1.0, because that's boring. The game is how it is. It's how the devs wanted 1.0 to be, minus a few hot fixes and stuff that they kind of maybe just about missed. But the progression loops, the story they wanted to tell, the bosses are there. By the looks of it, they've got plans for support in the future, whether that be updates or some sort of expansion. And if some of this stuff does eventually turn up in some of them updates or DLC, then I'll be a happy man. If it doesn't, I'm not going to cry my eyes out over content that was never meant to have been revealed, that was put in as a one-off to maybe mess around with. And we know that some of that content really isn't or wasn't going to make it. Andy, one of the grounded devs, has said explicitly 90% of the content, or the majority of the content in the dev builds that were leaked, will never make it to 1.0. The devs have made a great game. I'm sure we can trust them what will carry on making a great game. The future could be anything, as Adam said, but that's where they stand at the moment. It gets brought up a lot in Discord in the super secret chats and my videos. But yeah, leaks are kind of bad. They are. They can hype stuff up that won't be delivered and then people will get disappointed. So I know I've contributed a bit to that, but I've always tried to stress that it's in development. Some of this stuff may never come, and I'm going to make sure of that in the future. Hence why I've been reluctant to make more videos talking about stuff I know. But I do love this stuff, I really do. I think it's good, I feel theory crafting, chatting, getting excited and hyped about potential content. It does keep Grounded kind of going in between sort of dry spells of updates. We all want loads of stuff added to Grounded. We've all got our ideas of what makes Grounded an even better game, but I think we've got to respect what the devs are putting into it. Maybe get excited about stuff that potentially gets shown inadvertently, but yeah, not get too carried away with it. Daddy J Craft has spoken. So what does that all mean? Well, it means that once upon a time, yes, they were going to have a lizard maybe underneath the sandcastle. And we know what happened now to whatever ant queen there used to be in the oak tree. That's why the anthill was abandoned, because Wendell took it out to feed to the lizard. It also explains why the roly-polies are really sick. It's not just eating rubbish or being near the rubbish area, it's because they've eaten some of this casserole. Apex also found some relevance to do with the fire ant queen. It looks like they basically had a research note, maybe a recipe, like the Mantis barbecue kebab. The last trial he did had widow parts and pod moss lining, but he even says here, I might want a spider with more elegance for faster results. Another actual spider that's stronger than a widow. Either maybe it's talking about obviously a brood mother or another type of spider. So yes, they were considering having some sort of fire ant queen. It does seem a bit strange that yes, we go through the fire ant hill and there's not really a big encounter. Like you just kill a whole load of fire ants, you pick up some resources and that's it. There are a whole bunch of block caves in there as well. You never know, that might be something they add in the future. But then again, it might just be a bit too much. The devs might feel that it ties in too much with things like pheromones, and are pheromones really needed now we've got kind of ARP. That's the receivers that control some of the bugs. Maybe that's what part of the pheromones is going to be part of Schmetter's experiments. Either way, the devs have made the decision not to have it as content for 1.0. To me, Grounded was already pretty stuffed. I feel like there was a good amount of content in the upper yard. When you factor in the 3 different bosses and that giant dungeon that is the Undershed, I don't think we've had a better update in terms of pure content. So why haven't Grounded added some of this stuff? Well, I'm probably going to talk about that in another video, and I'm going to show you all the screenshots that I've got. Not to hype it up and say it's coming to Grounded, because it probably won't, but just give you an idea of the cut content that I think might not really make a return. And there we go, we can breathe. I have been wanting to talk about cut content for a while. Things like obviously the pond content, like the leeches, like the water strider, how much of an impact it really would have made with 1.0. And yeah, the future of grounded. Where could we possibly go next? Is there going to be some content in the front yard, in the shed, or another backyard completely? But there we go. As soon as that update goes live next week, I'll let you guys know all about it. As always, the king of leaks, and maybe just some regular YouTuber for guides, news and gameplay. I'll see you ratbags later.